Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive. I'm super excited to have you here joining me again. I'm your host, C. We're going to be diving into the topic around entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about what you can do right now in 2025. We're going to be talking about some things that I have business partners and friends of mine that are doing right now that are helping them not only in their careers, but also as entrepreneurs, things that they can do while they're also in their 9 to 5 and looking to explore other opportunities in the future outside of, just keeping a 9 to 5. So we're going to deep dive into that today and what that looks like. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen and kind of reviewing with everyone where to find this information. But of course and foremost, please go like and subscribe. Go share it with your friends on YouTube and Spotify. That's where you can find the episodes. Please be sure to go like and subscribe those and share them. Again, there's quite a bit of content as we're now on episode 8. So there's 7 episodes that are going to be available. But again, we're going to be talking about how to buy a business, whether it's a .com, an existing business, and what to stay away from, right? So we're going to be using ChatGPT, BizBuySell, Flippa.com, and to really describe what to do. So using ChatGPT, I pre-prompted the question for you all here. So what you can do is go into BizBuySell, and when you're thinking of BizBuySell and Flippa, and you're thinking of what does it take to be an entrepreneur, I will tell you anyone can be an entrepreneur. It doesn't take anyone specifically or any kind of person to do it. My great-great-grandfather, my grandmother's father, and his father were both dry cleaner owners, and during that time, a lot of African American men were not able to have the opportunity to be business owners. So she gave me some really good insight to what those men did and what my grandfathers did, great grandfathers did in order to get to those points. And so now we have technology. So now it's even more advanced from when I'm thinking of, wow, they had times of not only slavery, segregation, and things that were holding them back, that were things that they weren't always able to control. But now all of us have an even playing field on how we can get to where we're trying to go and what's important to us. So today I want to share how to do that, because when I think back to my great grandfather and even my previous grandfather, rest his soul, those men would have wanted me to share what I'm doing and what other people are doing as they're starting businesses, buying businesses, and the important part of being an entrepreneur, of what that takes and what that looks like. So here inside of ChatGPT, I put in the prompt, which a prompt is just the question that you're going to ask it. And what I always recommend is asking ChatGPT how and what questions. Those are really easy ways for you to really derive the best answers to what you're looking for. And then the next part is to say, okay, exactly what you gave me, take the above and make it better. So that's an easy way for you to take anything that you're doing and keep making it better on top of what you're asking. So hopping right into it, when we ask the question using Flippa and BizBuySell, what are some businesses I can go buy in 2025? And what are the steps that I need to take to get them done? If I'm working a job, what are the best ways for me to buy a business and still make time for my family, friends, and a job? So we all know we get super busy, things get tight, everybody gets, things that are important to them are pushed off on the back burner, or sometimes like, hey, I need to spend time with family, friends, or my job, so I can't actually go and explore the opportunity to be an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship looks a lot different ways. And here are some categories that I just had ChatGPT break down for us. So types of businesses you can buy off of Flippa. So to give you some context, Flippa is an actual website where you can buy .com. So anywhere from Amazon stores, you can buy actual Shopify stores, you can buy blogs, you can buy recipe websites, anything that someone's looking to sell. Now, the important part when you're looking to buy or purchase a business is always going to go look at the P&L. And that profit loss statement is going to show you quarterly how to forecast against what's actually real and what's fake against the profits for the business. Vice versa, if you purchase the business and you don't see the profit and loss statements, then that can be a red flag. So you want to stay away from anyone who's like, hey, I can't show you our profit and loss statements. That's not something that we can do. Mind you, that doesn't happen when you're using Flippa or Biz Buy Sell. There's brokers in there that actually help mitigate that kind of situation where they actually make sure those statements and everything's available for you, as they have created a way for banks and everyone to secure that information too, so that as you come on as a new entrepreneur, you feel good about your new role and your new journey. So just real quick, Flippa has a few different options, and I'm just going to give you all a few of these options. And some of these options are content, websites and blogs, e-commerce stores, apps and SaaS, newsletter, and digital media brands. So whenever you think of recurring revenue, that's what apps and SaaS are going to do. Whenever it comes to software, whenever it comes to e-commerce, when you're thinking of Amazon products, Shopify, and FBA, that means just shipped by Amazon or drop shipping. And then the affiliate income, so content websites where they have a lot of users or a lot of people who drive to those websites, and they have affiliate programs that are linked to them. And then when we get down here for Biz Buy Sell, you can see we have two different categories. This is good for semi-passive income if systems are in place, meaning that most of the stuff inside of Flippa needs to be what we would call automated, which a lot of it sometimes is or it isn't, and you'll just need to learn the technical side of what automates things to continue to drive that revenue. But inside of Biz Buy Sell, you can buy services businesses, meaning that you can go buy a cleaning business, you can go buy a landscaping business, a car wash, or a pest control, franchises, retail restaurants, and professional services. Now, whenever you're thinking of like, hey, I don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, I can't do this, I'm going to tell you that you got to stop that. You got to just ball that up and throw it out the window. The reason why everyone has what it takes is because really, if you take the time to learn the business that you want to purchase or learn the business that you want to own, the next steps are then building the business. And a lot of reason why businesses fail, and to give you all context of why I know or have scaled businesses, and that's where that's coming from, is after scaling businesses and making some businesses millions of dollars, I've now recognized that the only thing that, whether you're selling services, franchise, e-commerce stuff, whatever, it's the number of accounts. So if you're a plumber, the number of houses that you can do in 1 year determine the revenue per year. But the thing is about those different accounts is you don't just let them go away once you do one job on them. A real business is going to create an email campaign and then be able to capture that person's email, drop them in a drip campaign, so over the time of 2 or 3 years, if any plumbing issues come up, that plumbing business is going to be the first person to think of, and that plumbing business has what we would call an account. Now, these accounts come from B2C, that means business to customer, and then there's B2B. That's business to business. So when you're thinking of B2C, it's just business to customer. B2B is business to business. So if you can find and build, we'll just say, and as an example, any of these businesses and start with 25 accounts, work up to 50, work up to 75, work up to 100. Once you have 100 accounts, you manage the cash flow from whatever the price range for your product, your solution, or your service that you offer. Once you're doing those things, now you can go in and actually manage to the cash flow of 100 accounts, and then try to literally go in and clone that same process. And now you've done it 3 times, and now you're at 300 accounts. So now you're at 300 accounts, your employees have actually continued to grow, and your revenue's growing, but you actually know where the money's coming from. So that is the first basic part of just business 101 of how to scale, how to run a business, no matter what, whether you're running a gym, the number of memberships are super important at a certain price point. That determines if the gym is doing well or not doing well. Same thing with your website. If you have an e-commerce store and you're selling a certain product, we'll just use sunglasses, and you are only selling it in your state, that's probably not a good way to actually expand your revenue. Probably need to sell them to all 50 states, sell them in other countries, have Stripe set up different ways to take different currencies, set up the bilingual ways for people to look at your shop or whatever you're selling. So think of all the different ways. So when we're looking at the steps to buy a business, define your criteria. And that's what's going to be super important, is you want to know what you're getting involved with and how. And when you're getting involved in what you're getting involved with is super important. So if you have a budget of 20K, 50K, or if you can get a line of 100 to 500K and you want to go all in, as I like to say, then definitely do that if it suits you. But the time is how much in daily week can you realistically give? That's where you want to be honest with yourself. So going back to the family, the friends, and the job, just making sure one, two, three, however you're allocating your time, doesn't interfere with what you're doing. So skill alignment. Do you have the leverage your sales, marketing, or management skills? Mind you, people think they need all these different skills, but the most successful businesses don't have one person doing all these skills. And if you go and purchase a business, the easiest way to get these different skills is to actually go hire and bring the right people together. And when you build a team under this business that has the same vision and aligned with the same leadership, culture, and results, you can literally build any kind of business from the ground up and make a lot of money and be very successful. So then whenever you start to get into step two, start browsing your listings. So on Flippa, filter by profit, monetization model, and time commitment. So these are three areas you can actually filter through, which we'll go over. That's going to be super helpful to get you into that next stage. Biz by sell, filter by cash flow, asking price, industry, and location. You could buy a business somewhere in New York and actually live in Montana. So if you're living in Montana and you buy a business in New York, this is just an easy way to measure, hey, if I have the cash flow to go get a business in New York and it has cash flow and the asking price is accurate to what it should be sold for, and the industry matches what you want to get into, and the location matches with where you want to continue to run a business out of, then that's where you can really leverage your opportunity there. But then make sure you look at multiple small businesses, sell them for 2 to 4x annual profit. So mind you, what we're going to start to see is a large gap of small businesses, as we like to say from a millennial standpoint, in a boomer and Gen X, the three different and X generation, whatever, all those different generations have different business owners. But what we're going to see is all the people in the boomers and above start to sell their businesses. So this topic today is not only super important, but it can really help you leverage as you're looking at the next 5 to 10 years and what you want to see out of your life as you're living it. And just starting to use this 5 or 10 years, AI is going to be one of the most important things. So if you can go buy a business that's already using AI, in the next 5 years, the evaluation for AI is at least 1.3 trillion so far, from what I've been reading in Forbes and also watching and how the market's been responding from different venture capitalists. So as you're starting to think of what are some easy ways I can start to leverage some of these things to my own advantage, this is going to be a great way to start to do that. And so whenever we're looking at the third part, perform your due diligence. So mind you, don't just assume that the biz buy sell or the flipper, everything's running smoothly. And don't be leery to that, like, okay, why would they be selling a profitable business? Mind you, that's part of the business world. If you aren't buying, you aren't selling. And if you aren't selling, you aren't buying. And if the balance of that analogy comes from, okay, if they perform the due diligence, that means the financials verify revenue, expenses, and net profit. So if you see that there's a net profit and you can verify the revenue, that's really what's going to be able to help you either make the business maintain what revenue it has. So when you purchase it, there's no drop off from what you were thought you were going to get, and vice versa. This allows you to take a business and scale it. If you can go do the things I mentioned, where you bring in the people that know how to do all the things instead of trying to do all the things yourself, as I made that mistake myself. So financing options too. Whenever it comes to how are you financing, what are some things that you can do? Cash purchases, fastest but highest up front. So mind you, if you have the cash, great. Selling finances, common on biz buy sell. You either need 30 to 50% down and pay rest over the years. So meaning that you can go get a small business loan, which is an SBA loan from your bank. You need to open an LLC. The only thing you need to do in that 1 year or 2 year, even if you're working right now at your current job, put $100 or however much you can afford into that LLC. That will show positive cash flow through that LLC. And mind you, you don't have to run or sell a specific product just yet when you open your LLC and you're putting cash flow. What this will do will show the bank that you are qualified to take out that SBA loan. And what most people don't know, when they're looking at 30 to 50% down, they're like, I don't have that. The bank is willing to match anywhere from 85 to sometimes 95% of the actual business purchase to ensure that you have as minimal of 10 to 15% to put down of your own. And that's where the line of credit and that loan can really help you get there. So those are just some easy ways, as it talks about here, if you qualify. Some easy ways to qualify is to make sure you have a credit score above that 700. 700 is just going to put you in the right area where people in banks and even the brokers feel comfortable not only lending you the money, but they know that you'll be good to continue to make the payments once the business is purchased, because that's really the important part. Now, the important part of step 5 is negotiating and closings. This is where it's very like, hey, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not a business guy or girl, so how do I do this? Make a letter of intent. So this allows you to let them know, hey, I have intentions on buying or purchasing this business, and I'm looking forward to doing that sometime soon, and what that looks like, X, Y, and Z. So that's where you're going to have that. And then negotiate price and terms and transition period. So you're going to talk about when the keys are turned over to you, how soon you can get it, but then you want to not just take the asking price all the time. Mind you, everything in our world is up for negotiation. And I say that to say, using Walmart and other big brands, if you bring in the ads from a different store, they'll match it, right? So the balance of saying something costs $10 and another store is charging 5, I'm going to go into Walmart and show them they're charging 5 for this, so why would I give you 10? Same thing with the business. You want to go in with a mindset that I'm not going to give them $1,000, I'm going to give them 85, I'm going to give them 90. Always take off $15,000 to $10,000 in asking, and the only thing that's going to happen is someone say yes or no. That's it. Don't be scared of a yes or no. It ain't going to hurt you. So the balance of, now you've negotiated price, how do you use escrow services? So Flippa has one, but BizBuySell often uses an attorney or broker. So mind you, when you're looking at escrow, this is another way for you to kind of learn how and what that's going to look like once you purchase the business. And then step 6 is transition and management. So make sure you're trained, make sure you're getting all the things you need, negotiate a 30 to 90 day support, start delegating ASAP, hire a VA, a manager, a part-time ops person. So you want a general operations person, and then you want that manager. So those are the 2 areas where I would start, because general operations will tell you exactly how your business is being ran in the different functioning departments, or if there's 2 to 3 departments, that person can help you manage all the tasks that need to be done. And then focusing on the business and not in it. So as a CEO, or even the person running the business, you want to be running the business, not in the business. And the balance of running the business comes from understanding that you are the person that people are going to be looking at to really say what decisions need to be made and how they're made. Not so much the person who needs to be in the business doing the work all the time. So you got to work to be able to separate yourself, as it's definitely going to be hard if you're a brand new entrepreneur. But then balancing your job and family and owning your business. I have a semi-passive business, content sites, SaaS, self-service or car washes or laundromats. So when we're thinking of things that are passive, where you don't have to go there and spend a lot of time, you don't have to show up in it, you show up and it just all blow up in your face and things not going well. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's this bad. Vice versa, if you buy something that, start small, manage and use managers, hire local managers for service businesses. Set clear boundaries, block business time. So use 2 hours on the weekends or early mornings. So myself, for my small business and things that I work on for projects, I always allocate only 2 days a week, if not 3 days a week, to those things. But when I allocate them, I allocate a certain amount of time. So I'll spend 4 hours, which is 12 hours a week, on my small business. So to give you context, 12 hours in 2 weeks is 24 hours. So I always look at how much I got done in 24 hours, as I can't always spend all my time in my small business due to other priorities. So this is just a good way to start to balance it. But buy a side business that's just making an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a month, and then scale it into bigger acquisitions. So mind you, you don't need $1 million business. You don't need a $100,000 business. And that's kind of what I'm going over today. Is there's businesses that are out there that you can buy that are cash flowing $3,000, $4,000, $1,000, and you can work to scale scale to build the accounts, the traffic, marketing, whatever you want over time. But being in the position to have the power is what we're talking about today. Because a lot of people don't have the power they feel they should have. And this is why this topic is so important to me and should be important to you, is because you don't need to stop being a teacher or firefighter, or you don't need to stop doing your daily job that's important, that of people like a firefighter and teacher we need. You can actually do those things while you also have other ways that are providing income, or other ways for you to do something that you're passionate about. So that's why we wanted to bring it up today. And then, whenever it comes to this fourth one, it says best approach if you're working full time. Stick to online and semi passive businesses first. So if you're working full time and you're like, hey, I've got so much work to do that I don't really even think this is a good fit for me, then mind you, budget 10 to 15 hours a week in that transition. So going back to how I am a very busy person, I can actually really only give about 12 hours to this specific business and my businesses or projects. So don't be afraid to like push the project off, but also revisit profits to hire help rather than burning yourself out. So some great lists or places that I use is Upwork and Fiverr. I use a Fiverr for marketing. I use Fiverr for building things from websites. I use Fiverr for different tools for writing grants, for instance, for nonprofits. There's tons of different ways to use other people's freelance work that's affordable, so it doesn't have to make you break an arm and a leg, or also it removes you from having to hire somebody, especially if you're starting off small like myself. Like, I wouldn't want to hire someone full time to create a salary or a set wage just yet. So if I can just pay someone using Upwork or Fiverr one set price or a one lump sum to get an X amount of work or task done for the business, that's really the best way to set yourself up for success. So using $3,000 that's cash flowing as an example, you might take the $1,000 of the net sales after 2 months and drop that into something that can help the business grow using Upwork or Fiverr. And then as you do that, you just keep wash, rinse, and repeat that, and just drop $1,000 on that same task or project to keep helping it scale. And then next thing you know it, your 1,000 went to 5,000. Now that 5,000 has went to 6. So now we're going to get into the fun part, as I like to say, of looking at the different types of businesses. So you can go to Biz Buy Sell. We're going to start there. When you're inside of Biz Buy Sell, the first page is going to show you buy business, buy franchise, sell business, tool advice, business broker. So what I would advise is of course signing in, making an account if you haven't, but this shows you what city and this shows you what industry. As you can see, we talked about there's tons of different industries and services you can get into. And so we're just going to look at all of them. So I'm going to be looking in Kansas specifically, and I'm just going to click all industries. So we're just going to see what happens when we hit all industries for the search. So we are going to go in here, and you can see just in Missouri specifically, there's 3 different types of listings. Now, whenever you go into listings, you can actually say startup business, real estate, asset sales, or established business. So if you're someone who's like, hey, I don't want a whole lot of risk in a franchise, startup, real estate, or asset, I want an established business that's cash flowing. Going back to what we said, you can go on Biz Buy Sell, and now it's actually showing you all the businesses that are cash flowing. So if you go in and you're looking at this Papa Murphy's, this is where you will want to see that profit and loss statement to help you understand how much cash flow is actually coming out of that $740,000. And in that balance, this is where you can start to kind of scroll and look at the different things that you can leverage to say, okay, hey, in the future, if I wanted a certain kind of business, this is what I need to do, and these are the steps. And now you can go over to price range. So going back to the millions or even 50,000, as we said, hey, I don't want anything over 50,000 or anywhere anything near 3 million. So this is just an easy way for you to go, okay, hey, there's not a lot of things happening inside of Missouri for things for 50,000 for businesses for 50,000, but when you start to look at the 314 businesses around the nation, this gives you an idea of what we talked about, where if it's cash flowing and you're like, hey, you know what? I've always wanted a business in Illinois. This is just an easy way for you to go in and contact them. And here on the side, this shows you the different brokers. So this is where I share with you, if you're not familiar, this is just makes it super easy for you to actually leverage how and what people are doing whenever it comes to brokering the businesses that are looking to be sold. And really, this is just an easy way for you to kind of get an understanding of how entrepreneurship, but also what businesses are being sold and why. So when you click in on one of these businesses, the good part is you can fill out your contact form, and you can see here he is the person who's licensed. Steve Schneider is going to be the person you're going to get in contact with, but it's saying the gross revenue is 165, established in 2022. Cash flow is about $87,000. So they have more cash flow coming in than they're actually asking for. So this is a good example for one of those businesses that we talked about, where I would recommend asking for the lower than 50,000, even though it's at 87. It's been on the market, or it's been on the market long enough where if it's established that early still and they're ready to sell, that's a good indicator that instead of for 50,000, you might be able to get it for 45, 40. So just keep that in mind, and that's an easy way for you to go in net positive into your new business. But down here, this tells you a quick synopsis of the franchise and what next steps look like, and sometimes gives you the actual updates. So just giving you some context, great businesses to go purchase from Biz Buy Sell are going to be laundromats or any business that's not going to be a high turnover. And when we think of laundromats and car washes or any of these businesses that you're looking at, really businesses that you don't have to spend a lot of time in is really what's going to be the kicker. And that's where you want to find the businesses that are doing well, that you don't have to spend a lot of time. So that's where my recommendation on the Biz Buy Sell. Again, you can go in here and filter out through the different industries that are important. So if you're looking at the restaurants that are going to have 50,000, that'll show you all the restaurants that are available. And then, like we said, if you're wanting more filters, this is really like an easier way to say, hey, I want the cash flow to be $3 million. And I'm just going to show you an example of what the cash flow looks like when you're looking for businesses at that rate. So it looks like we don't have any current businesses that are cash flowing at that 3 million. So that's just a good example too of if you don't have those businesses cash flowing at that 3 million, then it makes it very easy for you to know what and how things are being established. So as we switch things around, you can see patent trailer hatchback 1.5 minimal ad spend. So when we're thinking of this specific company, you can go in here and say, okay, this company has $233,000. It was established in 2021. What's going on here? Zero by costing important they cost by enforcing patents against competitors, doing over 4.5 million annually. So when we're thinking of what they do, patent trailer hitch brand. So mind you, I guess they are the brand right here that are going to be creating hitches for trucks. So for instance, if you really like trucks and you're like, hey, I want a trucking business, but I don't know what business to get into, you can call him and he can actually explain to you what the steps are to purchase that business, or even whenever it comes to negotiating that business. So those are some easy, helpful ways for you to get that done. And then when we go into Flippa, we're going to flip over to Flippa real quick, because when you're inside of Flippa, this is going to be an easy way for you to start to leverage how you can want to buy an automated passive income business. And using Biz Buy Sell, that's going to be a business, as we said, that you kind of got to go into. You're ready and looking to either leave a 9 to 5 over time, or you have a car wash or a laundromat where you don't have to spend a lot of time up front there, and you can hire some person to run it as it's an already ongoing business. But inside of Flippa, what you can do is you can go in here and you can meet brokers, insights, you can see pricing. But right now, this is an easy way for you to go in and see what you want to buy. So you can buy a YouTube channel, you can buy Amazon, you can buy a SaaS product. So just using YouTube as an example. When you're inside of Flippa, what you can do is you can actually go in here and say, okay, these are the asset type and the media community type. So this just allows you to see how they're using it. But this actually goes and shows you the monthly revenue and monthly profit and price range. So when you're thinking of the age, how long it's been open, multiple profit lines and revenue multiple, that's going to be super important. But just scrolling over here, you can see how to really buy and sell websites on Flippa. And the easiest way to do that and how to get around using this one is it's 3 years, ads, industry, automotive, YouTube channel type, $120, $22 per month. They reduced the price from $5,000 to $4,500. And when you go in here, you can hit the watch. So if you're like, hey, I want to go actually buy this YouTube channel, you'll have to log in to Flippa and it'll let you watch it. So whenever you're inside of there, just using the Flippa, let me go back real quick. Just using the YouTube ad as an example, you can go in and as you're looking at the listing, these different listings will tell you exactly what's happening with it. So using that same biz buy sell, a little bit of the framework, you can contact the seller, you can make an offer, or you can watch it. But this tells you, using euros as an example, 100% profit margin. This is where you would want to see the profit and loss statements, just so that you can make sure that this business is owned and how it's flowing. And then mind you, you can change the different currency. So as this is a European channel, the description is financials. Entertainment is what it has. 7 years of an old account with European traffic. Niches jokes written in Romanian. So if you want to buy a YouTube channel that's niches is in jokes and it's Romanian, you have more than 30 million views with 2,100 subscribers with one paid membership. It tells you how many watchers and views this already has on this. And mind you, if you want to start selling, you can actually sell a business. So you can enter your own URL. So if you create a SaaS product or a website and you're looking to buy or sell or purchase one, this is where you can use Flippa for all those different needs. As I've used Flippa myself for insights on how I can buy websites or buy SaaS products, as an example, you can go in here and see that there's different types of SaaS products that are old. Using this one that's 25 years old, this one's cash flowing $33,000 per month, but asking price is $10 million. So this is where you would want to just go in and see, okay, this person wants a signed NDA to view, meaning that normally means they don't want you to tell people about their product that they're trying to sell. But the important part here is that the good part is that a lot of these businesses are cash flowing. So if you were ever to want to get into the business of flipping .coms, flipping SaaS, flipping YouTube channels, this is the easiest way to do it. Now, that's going to be the end for me whenever it comes to, understanding how to use Flippa, what to do, and how to do it. So, today on Deep Dive, as I mentioned before, I hope that was super helpful. I hope that was thoughtful in how you could go out and become an entrepreneur. The best book I've read myself is Entrepreneurship for Dummies. That's going to be a great book to go check out. I highly recommend you read that book, just because it doesn't matter what kind of entrepreneur you want to be. That book will help shape your view on the entrepreneur you want to be for yourself. So today we talked about the blueprint and the roadmap and how to get there. Then we talked about what you can do and how to get there, right? So the balance of not necessarily doing everything all at once, but breaking things down in steps, writing them down. And once you write them down and execute on them, check it off. So the more things you write down, and I call it my code of 3. So I do things, I write 3 things down that I need to get done, check off all those 3 things, move on to my next 3 things. And what I have found is if when I do those 3 things more consistently, that I write down and knock them out, a lot of things in my personal life and professional life actually get taken care of more often, or I stay on top of those things that I need to stay on top of more often when doing that. So again, please go like and subscribe. Please share this episode. Please tell your friends, your family. We are definitely looking to have more deep conversations. Next time on Deep Dive, I'm going to be bringing in one of my buddies to talk about a little bit more of what we talked about in our episode with Eric around, career development, what you can do to change where you're at in your life, and how to start viewing the mindset that it takes to move into the next direction, because your family needs you, your friends need you, and everybody around you can really use that support of watching you as an individual take the next steps to become an entrepreneur, like we talked about. Just something as simple as buying a small business that's a .com or buying an actual business off of Biz Buy Sell. So again, please like and subscribe on deepdive.com. Appreciate you all viewing it today. And again, looking forward to the next episode.